I have a playlist at the end. Stay tuned.
Space.
Captain's Log 2245.3. The Enterprise is orbiting the third moon of the gas giant Callus Notori, supplying one of many Starfleet science outposts with enough food and material to last 6 months. The transfer is carried out by a shuttlecraft and is scheduled for 1 day and is nearly complete. Before the Enterprise could transport any staff members to and from the outpost, Scotty is required to install new transporter hardware and software and run a test. Scotty was near the completion of the installation when he noticed something odd. "What is it, Mr. Scott?" Spock asked. Scott requested Spock come to the transporter room to help assess the anomaly and ensure the safety of the crew. "You know all biological information is scrubbed from the memory banks after each transport," Scott said. "Yes, I'm aware," Spock replied. "Well, I came across this glitch when I changed out the old memory cells, and it looks like there is still biological information present. And that information copied itself to the new cells by themselves." "Are you able to identify whose biological information?" Spock asked. "Yes," Scotty replied reluctantly. "I don't have the complete information for any one person, but fragments from at least 10. "Are you able to delete the information?" Spock asked. "That's no problem. The issue is how did it happen, and how many other transporter systems are retaining biological information. This isn't supposed to happen. It's unethical to keep records of individuals' biological information, especially without their knowledge or consent. I feel we should report this to Starfleet," Scott said, with concern in his voice. "I agree," Spock said. "I'm curious how the information was copied and transferred to the new memory cells by themselves." "There's a bigger issue here," Scott said. "How much of this information has been incorporated into our crew over time?" Spock raised an eyebrow as the concept of a transporter blending the crew with each transfer turned his stomach. "Fascinating," Spock said. "Horrifying," Scott replied. "How much of you or I are pure? How much are we a blend of other crew members? When was the last time we were whole?" "Did you detect any alien life, biological information in the memory cells?" Spock asked. "We transport more than humans. I myself am half Vulcan." Scotty enlarged the report on his screen, changed the parameters, and hit scan. A progress bar slowly crawled across the bottom of the screen and ended with a message that read, "Non-human biological information detected." "This information is very disconcerting," Spock said. "How is Starfleet not aware this could happen?" "It's possible the anomaly is restricted to our transporter," Scott said. "I hope so," Spock replied, "but I wouldn't wager on it. If it happened here, most likely it's happened on other ships." Uhura sat on an exam table in sickbay, dressed in a medical gown, waiting for Dr. McCoy. She rocked her feet back and forth for what seemed like forever before the doctor walked in. "Hello, Uhura," McCoy said with his best doctor smile. "What ails you today?" "I hope it's nothing, but I have this thing on my back, and I can't get comfortable when I sleep at night." "Thing?" McCoy asked. "How long have you had this problem?" "It started about 6 weeks ago," Uhura replied. McCoy stepped around and slid the gown down enough to expose her back. "I can see why you're uncomfortable. Have you seen this?" "I looked in the mirror," Uhura replied. "That's why I made the appointment." McCoy took a measurement and entered the information into his tablet, then a series of photographs. He brought the tablet around for Uhura to see. "The thing you are referring to is 6 centimeters long, 3 wide, and 2.5 raised above the muscle. And you have another 2 beginning to grow, 1 on your lower back and 1 at the base of your neck." "Why are they green?" Uhura asked. "And what are those round things on them?" "They look like suction cup buds," McCoy replied. "I need to do a biopsy and find out what these really are." "I'm concerned, Doctor," Uhura said. "What do you think they could be?" My best guess is an alien has invaded your body and is trying to escape, McCoy replied. What? Uhura exclaimed. That is kind of specific. How can that be? I won't know until I run tests. I will set you up with a lab for a CT scan and an X-ray, as well as a biopsy. What should I do? I mean, should I go back to work? Uhura asked. You're on sick leave for now. I may have to admit you if this progresses much further, McCoy said. I need to report this to the captain. Spock called Captain Kirk and Dr. McCoy to the conference room, along with Mr. Scott, to relay the new transporter error information. Spock and Scott sat on one side, Kirk and McCoy on the other. What's so important, Kirk asked, agitated, that you called this meeting now? Mr. Scott has discovered that the transporter memory cells are retaining biological information, human and alien, and we are concerned about the safety of the crew, Spock said with the logic of a robot. Scotty, is that true? Kirk asked. Yes, Captain. I was switching out the old cells as I was required by procedure and found the anomaly. McCoy spoke up. That's impossible. The transporter is supposed to dump all biological information after each use to prevent that from happening. Yes, sir. But it's all there, and I can prove it, Scott said. Why not report it at the Starfleet? Why the urgency? Kirk asked. Uhura came to McCoy's memory and the assessment in the clinic. Holy crap, McCoy said as he put two and two together. What is it, Bones? Kirk asked. Uhura, she shows signs of an alien infestation. What do you mean, infestation? Kirk asked. You have to see it to believe it, but there is something growing out of her back, McCoy said. Spock spoke up. We are concerned about you, Captain, as well. Why? There isn't anything growing out of me. Not yet, but according to transporter records, you have cycled 57 times in the last 3 years. There is a good chance your DNA has been scrambled to the point of no return, and who knows what's mixed in there now. Is 57 a lot? Kirk asked. I have no way to quantify your answer, but you are in the top 10% of transporter transfers, and that doesn't count transporting back to the ship, Spock replied. I'm also in the top 10%, and I'm also at high risk. But Uhura can't be close to the top 10%, Kirk said. Why is she showing symptoms? The transporter acts on everyone differently, Scott replied. There is no cut and dry answer for everyone. Just then, McCoy received an urgent message from sickbay, calling him to Uhura's living quarters. All four men leapt from their seats and exited the conference room, entered the turbo lift, and ran down the hall, stopping when they saw a large, squat, green, alien creature with tentacles and suckers hovering above a blood-soaked floor. Uhura was ripped to shreds. Jim, she's dead, McCoy said. What in the blazes is going on? You tell me, Bones, Kirk said. I'm a doctor, Jim, not an alien expert. Scott pulled his phaser and aimed it at the creature. Stop, the creature communicated telepathically. Don't shoot. You killed Uhura, Scott yelled. You bloody bastard. Not intentionally, the alien replied. I had no control over my metamorphosis. Your fellow human was an innocent victim of my birth. Kirk stepped over to the wall communication unit and pressed a button. Security to Deck 5, Room 10A, immediately, Kirk yelled. Who are you? Kirk asked the alien creature. I am the race of Lolax. I have no name. How do you know what you are? McCoy asked. You were just born. I am born with the history of my race, the alien replied, and the ability to think, reason, and communicate telepathically. Now I've seen everything, McCoy said under his breath. Is this one of your transporter aliens? McCoy asked, snarkily. I don't recall seeing this race before, Scott replied, and I've used the transporter as much as anyone. I've never heard of the Lolax before. This is my infant form, the alien stated. I will molt and change over time into something completely different. Spock spoke out. Most likely, this life form was trapped in the memory cells. I can't think of any other scenario that would produce an alien from one of our crew. Uhura has a name, McCoy yelled. You green-blooded Vulcan. She's spread all over the carpet. Security arrived and surrounded the alien with phasers drawn and aimed. "What do you want us to do, Captain?" Security Chief Dickerson asked. "Unnamed alien life form, we are transferring you to the brig. Do you understand?" Kirk snapped. "I have not committed a crime," the alien replied, "but I will comply." The security team led the alien down the hall, into the turbolift, and to the brig where he was locked inside. Kirk and the rest of the administrative crew stood by waiting for orders from Kirk. Scott took note of the blood trail on the carpet that led back down to the hall to the turbolift. "We should put it on the transporter and send it into deep space," Scott said. "We have no idea what it's capable of or what it will do next." "The brig is fine for now," Kirk said. "Spock, find out what this is and where it came from. I need to know as soon as possible." "I will attempt," Spock said, "but I make no guarantees." That was Mr. Spock. He just said that line. And in this story was also, that's Chekhov. He was not in the story, but I think Scotty was. And I'm pretty dang sure that Captain Kirk was in the story. Captain Kirk. So I got 4 of my guys here. And they were all in my story, except for Chekhov. He was not in the story. Please like, subscribe, follow. I have a complete set list of all of my stories. I got like 12 of them now. I got 1 more to go, and maybe I'll just quit. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I need to get some followers. I need some people to ding the bell. Ding, 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 ding the bell. So I can keep on going. These are fun to do. I enjoy doing them. I appreciate you guys showing up, and I want this Star Trek fan fiction thing to blow up. And the only way that's going to happen is if you guys help me out. So thanks a lot and enjoy.